what's going on, man? I like the hat, dude.
Welcome
Check
back.
this
Welcome
out.
back. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen you wear a hat quite like that before. So.
No, this is a new. I learned it's called a camp hat, five panel camp hat, I think. So we went out to Boise, Idaho last weekend and hit a little ski trip on Bogus Basin.
Bogus Basin, okay.
Which is now branded here. Super cool. I'd never even heard of it. Never thought I'd go to Idaho, but
you big skier?
Oh, I love skiing.
Dude, that's awesome.
One of my favorite things to do. We try to go at least once a year, and I've hit pretty consistent for the past 8 or 9 years. Once a year, going out west somewhere.
We used to go to North Carolina and ski, or I would snowboard. My wife would ski, and it's kind of like bunny hills. I'm sure compared to what you guys are going to. And but man, we've been out of the loop for a while. It's, I have to get back into that. Not the cheapest hobby to have.
Oh my gosh, no.
No, I was lift spoiled. Tickets and flights and all that stuff.
I was spoiled early with youth group trips, and the first one I went to Colorado. I think Winter Park in Colorado.
Wow. Okay.
And so in my mind, I was like, "This is skiing. This is incredible." Because I mean, you get out there, and it was like nothing I've ever seen before. It's just these massive mountains, wide open skies.
I know, and to this day,
beautiful.
I really haven't ever experienced like big snow, big mountains.
Yeah.
Just living in Alabama, it's just not something we ever see.
One of my favorite things in the world.
Sure, it's cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, what else has been going on in your life? What you got going on?
It's been busy. We've been busy. Getting a new hobby is my hobby, so we're still working on the Land Cruiser. I've
seen your TikToks and stuff. So bring me up to speed. I think the last time that we talked about the Land Cruiser, you were trying to purchase it, but the guy that you were trying to purchase it from wasn't 100% sold, no pun intended, on selling you the Land Cruiser.
We went back and forth for a little bit. I tried to give him some creative options of, helping him out on the real estate side if he'd give me a better deal on it. And at the end of the day, he was like, no, I would just want to sell it outright. And so it's unbeknownst to him, and Jeremy, if you're watching this, sorry I didn't tell you this, but it was, so I had it towed to my house because it was in the way to start the project, but obviously it was still his car. And we were going back and forth for probably a week and a half, but having no chill, I was like, I'm just going to start it. And so I started gutting the thing while we were still talking back and forth, because at the end of the day, what he was asking $4,000 for it. I was going to give it to him. Or I probably would have. I guess I wasn't committed yet, but I was like, it's worth that just to me as a expensive hobby, I guess, and I'll sell another toy to fund it or whatever. And so ended up, came back, didn't want the creative deal, and so I think we ended up at $3,750. And I was like, after the creative deal or the offer I made him, he was like, no, I'll just come pick it up. And it was in pieces, and I was like, whoa, don't do that. And so. We ended up making it work, and he's become a pretty good friend, and he's in the car business, so he's helped me. I've talked to him a lot about questions I've had on how to do things, because while I can build a house from the ground up, I know nothing mechanically or nothing about cars. And so it's been fun to learn and tear the thing apart and learn how it's all put together. Hopefully I can put it back together once we're done tearing it apart, but that's kind of where we're at now. So I had to replace a fuel pump. I haven't looked at it in about a week because we were on the ski trip and catching up on work. But the next task is to drop the fuel tank, clean it, because the fuel pump that we pulled was all rusted.
Sure.
And so there's rust sitting in the tank. So pump the tank out. I got a manual pump. I've got to get all the gas out. It's like 15 or 20 gallons in there.
So did it ever crank?
So we get it to fire, but it won't stay on. So it seems like it's burning.
Not seized up, nothing like that.
No. Okay. It'll, because we've got it to idle for like 5 seconds, and then it'll die. And what I think's happening is the fuel pump, even though we've got a new one in there, is not getting power. So like the fuse or the relay that gives the fuel pump power is burnt out or not working. Mm-hmm. Or there's the whole, I don't know what it's called, but fuse box or the whole compartment that all these relays are in, and apparently those can go bad.
Okay.
And they're like $600 or $700. I really don't want to spend that. But I found why they go bad, and it's like 10 hours of labor, but I think I can fix it. And so after I do the fuel pump or the fuel tank, dropping that clean and putting it back on, I'm going to tackle that box. So it's a labor of love. It's coming along.
Why were you, and maybe you've already answered this question, for anyone that doesn't know, we talk about this on a previous episode, or I know we've talked about it before, but this Land Cruiser was on a property that you purchased, and the guy basically had a junkyard full of different things, and this was the one thing that caught your eye that you actually wanted to keep. Why was that? Did you ever have a desire to own a Land Cruiser.
No,
prior to
no,
this.
and man, my eyes have been opened up to the world of Land Cruisers, especially it's a 1999, so that older, it's called a 100 series. I knew none of this starting off. I was like, oh, it's just a car, a Toyota symbol on the front of it, and I've gone down rabbit holes. Man, it is like a Jeep community for Land
Oh
Cruisers.
yeah, I'm
It
sure
is
it's
crazy.
like a whole subculture.
It is, and so now it like just fueled the desire to keep it and fix it up. And as I go in, there's whole forums and blogs, and I'm getting feedback from people all over the world on how to do this or how to do this. So now it's just again, my hobby's getting hobby, so my hobby's fixing up this car.
Between skiing and piano lessons,
Yeah.
selling real estate, investing.
We've got a home gym. I got a free treadmill off Facebook on Tuesday. Of course, it doesn't work, so now I've got to fix that this weekend. And
awesome.
so
That's
just
good to
fixing
hear.
stuff up. But we can talk about things that actually should make us money instead of
Sure,
just
yeah.
taking it.
I know you're never have idle time. You're always doing something. But yeah, in the real estate world, what else you got going on?
Yeah, so we talked about this a few episodes back, but the market last October, rates went up, they spiked, and it kind of cooled. Towards the end of 2022 and into this new year, the demand has calmed down a lot, and we're just not seeing turnover as much. Coming into March and springtime, and rates have kind of settled a little bit to maybe quote a new normal. We're starting to see it pick back up some, and in the past really 10 to 15 days, specifically my business has picked up a good bit. But with that downturn in the market, we're seeing an increase in available investment opportunities, or more opportunities for real estate investing. And so we've got the flip in Bluff Park going. We just bought a condo Tuesday, 3 days ago, in Vestavia. It's a little two bedroom, 1 bath that we're going to flip it. I think I've already got a buyer for it, which is one of my clients.
Wow.
And so it's just, so those two came up, and then I had a buddy from high school who just last fall went in full time into investing, specifically into the short-term space. And he is wanting a partner to link up on some stuff. And he's already got about 15 properties, but he's looking to kind of scale, and he's in a new coaching program that's really pumping more towards him, where he's like, I need to partner up and kind of grow this more. So we've got
short-term, like Airbnb type deal?
Yeah, Airbnb. And then some municipalities, we've talked about this before, don't allow less than short. So some of them will be midterm. Okay. So right now we've got one in Highland Park that we close on next week that I'm essentially the money partner on. And through years and years of investing and growing and building and not buying Lamborghinis, I've had the opportunity to be able to just kind of be the money partner in fun deals, where he's going to go in and execute and create the product at the end, and then he'll actually refinance the property, and I'll get out.
Yeah.
And so I'll get money back plus a return that we agreed on. And so we're doing that one, and then he brought another one to me that we're analyzing still, but it's a 5-unit in Homewood that we may take down. And he's a friend. We've known each other since middle school, and he's just kind of open. He's like, look, I want to grow. What structure makes sense for you? Which I love that mindset of someone, especially coming in, of recognizing maybe he could get creative and take it down himself, but instead, like, there's more than enough to go around. And this, I love this, and I try to partner with people as well. Just kind of the same idea of, hey, let's kind of grow this together, and we can learn from each other and go from there. So we may take that one down. We may not. We're still trying to figure out the details, but
Homewood's an excellent
it is
area.
It's just all. So it's not going too deep into it because we don't have it worked out yet. But it would be buying the note and then foreclosing on the current owner and then owning it ourselves.
Is it a multi-unit? Is that what you said?
It's a 5-unit.
It's 5-unit.
Yep.
Okay.
And so, which we've done. I bought that. Me and 2 other partners bought a 32-unit 3-ish years ago.
Was that the Uptown venture?
It was one near there.
Okay.
We had 2 32 units kind of hit at the same time. So this one,
No small feat.
right? Yeah. This one we bought the note, a delinquent note or mortgage from the note holder, seller financed. Bought it. It's like $100,000 was owed on that one. We bought it for $60 because it was delinquent. Immediately got attorneys involved, foreclosed on the owner, owned it, and then that was the one that we had like a $1.2 million renovation to redo the entire complex, lease it out because it was vacant. And before we could pull the trigger on that, we had a firm out of like Utah or somewhere come to us and just offer us $270,000. It's like as is. We're like, well, yeah. I mean, that's a quick, $200,000 for doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, why would we say no to that?
Sure.
So kind of the same deal on this one. So we're looking to go buy the note, foreclose on the owner, and then take it on at a discount, and then value add, lease it up. Homewood has, I think, you can't have less than 30-day rental, so it'd be a midterm rental. So, and it's right by 65, kind of on Lakeshore.
So explain, what is a midterm rental? I mean, I'm used to the standard lease, year lease that you get on most rentals. Is this like 6 months, or what is that?
Normal is a year. 12-month is kind of a long-term lease.
Okay.
And so you've got short term, which is 30 days or less, and then midterm, which is kind of your 1 to 6 months kind of deal.
Okay.
And that is
So more than 30 days, less than a year.
And the biggest question is, well, what's the demand for that? And it's,
what is the demand?
It's kind of newer for me, but travel nurses is huge.
Really?
With Birmingham having such a medical presence, there's travel nurses that come in for 1 to 3 month stints, and the hospital gives them a housing stipend. Sometimes it's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 per month for them to directly put towards housing. And so I think there's a big need for that. There's a lot of construction firms based out of Birmingham, but Birmingham's growing a good bit, so there's a lot of projects. So a lot of times, if a local firm doesn't get the job, they'll hire someone out of town to come in, and they have to house those workers for up to 6 months. Right.
I know that happened with the local skate park that was built. Talking with some of those guys, people who won that contract, because obviously here in Birmingham we don't have a huge Southern California skater presence, so they've hired some firm out of I should know, New Line Skate Park, shout out. But they came to our city and stayed for I think 6 to 8 months. To get that going. So so you
got to think, like, where those people stay.
They got to stay somewhere. So,
and a lot of it's like extended stay hotels, which are costing thousands of dollars a month. So
versus like
why
a
not?
condo or
why not? If you're okay spending $1,000, why not get a house? And why not do it with me? So kind of a newer world that I'm looking at. Again, not trying to chase shiny objects and go 10 different directions, but it's appealing because if I can, especially when I have turnover in my long-term rentals, specifically we've got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Southside. It's renting for $23.50 a month, and the tenant turns over next month. And so the analysis I'm going through right now is, what would it look like? What's the demand for midterm rental? Because it's walking distance to UAB.
Sure.
And what would the monthly fee be there? Because I've got to furnish it. There's some expenses for me to do that, and a little bit more management. But is it worth it? Like, if I can get $3,000+ a month, it seems like it would be worth it. Right. So
now, are you having to do more legwork as far as like getting a new client in there every 3 months versus having somebody who's like camping down for a year or two?
Yeah, really got to factor in the vacancy into there. Furnishfinders.com is I think exclusively for travel nurses, and so that's like where they go to look for housing.
Plugged into that network.
Yep. Yeah. And then I've heard, again, kind of newer to this world, but I've heard once you build up 5 to 10 houses or 5+ of these midterm rentals in a certain area, like if I got 5 houses in Southside, I could go to UAB recruiting and say, hey, who are y'all using for housing placement for your travel people coming in? Can I get on that list? Like, can you use me? And just go in and just, again, it's about relationships. Just build a relationship.
Get your brochure. Here's the properties I own.
Bring them Starbucks. You can figure out what they like. And just be on their list, right? And then when they think about, hey, I've got someone coming in who want, they're bringing their family, so they don't just want like a little 1-bedroom condo. They want a house. Then, boom. Well, Blake brought me Starbucks last week. I really like him. Let's put him there.
Are you familiar with landing at all?
Yeah, same.
So what do they? Maybe you have a better understanding.
Same kind of thing.
It seems like they do something like that.
They do. They so the biggest difference from them, again, I don't know them super well, but from my understanding, they own the units. So they go to an apartment complex and say, hey, we want to put a year lease or a 5-year lease or whatever the term is on 10 of your apartments, and this is our intention. We're going to furnish them ourselves, and we're going to have mid-term or short-term rentals come in and out for these certain. That's my understanding of what landing is. So it's kind of it's trying to solve that issue. So same kind of thing.
But they're nationwide, but it's cool that they're based right here.
Yeah, they're based out of here. So part of my analysis is what's the demand, right? And how much the supply is there based landing here, and how many other people, because what I don't want to do is get into it, spend money furnishing it, and then, I'm vacant 6 months out of the year.
Yeah. Right. So that would not be cool. So that's kind of one of the plus sides to having like a full-term renter there in your units. You're not having to, and do you delegate? I guess that's where that partnership with this, with another company like Landing that you mentioned that is responsible for filling those units. So it's not like it's on you. I know you're good at delegating, but I didn't know how much of that's going to fall on you as far
that's
as
how
like,
landing would do it. If I did it for mine, then it would just be on me to fill it.
so it's on you to.
Yeah.
So I wonder how much more you fill the same apartment with 4 tenants throughout the year versus one. Like how much more work is that going to put on you, and is that factored into the whole?
Well, and that's
equation?
why so TJ, the buddy from high school who brought me or we're maybe partnering on this 5-unit. That's what was appealing to me on it is I'm more not necessarily the money partner, but I would come on but he would do it. He would manage it. Because he's already got 15, so he's got processes, procedures, and handymen and the right people to plug and play for turning over tenants.
He just needs to grow scale.
Yeah. And so we both have our kind of strengths and from past experience where when we merge those, it looks like it could be a pretty good relationship. So.
Okay. Best of luck going forward.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Anything else going on? It seems like every time I talk to you, you got, you mentioned a couple of flips under your belt. It's like you're acquiring properties just like every month, man. It's crazy.
Well, like I said, it just, when one's down, the other's up. And so real estate's starting to come back a little bit. So I'm curious to see if those leads and opportunities shrink, or will I just be going 90-0 in both directions?
I was about to say, we're in tail end of February as of the time of this recording, and I was curious, kind of to bookend this episode. With the summer, you're not too far off, and we're getting into the warmer seasons. Is that when real estate typically takes an uptick, or what does that do?
Yeah, historically it is springtime, right? That's what you hear. Just real estate.
Any idea why that is, or is that just when people just that change in season, people are like, get that energy to go?
I think that's a big part. Yeah, it feels
house.
Good outside, but school turnover going into the summer. So people are, hey, we're going to move this year, and if it's a different school zone or city, then I don't want to uproot my kids. I want to let them to finish the school year, move in the summer, especially if it's anywhere but the southeast. I don't want to deal with snow and move. And so I think a lot of that goes into it. This year, it is turning into that where I think this spring's going to be pretty big, but it's not solely based off the season. It's really where rates have been and where they are. Mm-hmm. They spiked in October, went up to 8 something, and then they've kind of trickled down. The past 2 weeks, they kind of went back up a little bit closer to 7, but I think I'm no big economist, but what I think we're going to see is kind of a low to mid 6 kind of settle for probably the rest of the year. Especially being an election year, we're not going to see anything crazy. But so we've got that, kind of settlement in rates potentially coming for the rest of the year. And so if that's, quote, the new normal that people are just going to accept, and they're not, last October, like, oh, I was going to buy, I'm not going to buy until just rates come back down to 4 or 3. I think the realization of we're not going to see those rates
by
again.
that point, then people are like, okay, let's just pull the trigger and I can't live in my parents' basement.
Yeah, and it's wild to me because prices are reflecting that now. So things are sitting on the market for a little bit. Buyers have negotiating power right now, but it's so hard to get a buyer to see, hey, buy now. You have negotiating power. You can get cash back. You can get them to cover your closing costs. You have leverage. But yeah, rates are high. Refinance. Right? So get in now, even if you got to pay 7.5, and then if rates don't come down, well, then you're at 7.5 plus anyways. But if they do, then it's just a bonus, right? So if you're going to buy anyways, don't buy just to buy, but if you're going to buy in the next 6 months anyways, why not do it now where you have leverage versus 2, 3, 4 months from now? Your leverage is potentially going to be gone, and we're going to go back into multiple offers, wave inspection stuff again, to where you have zero leverage as a buyer.
Well, you heard it here first. If you're thinking about that house on 123 Broad Street, go ahead and do it.
Do it. Pull the
Make
trigger.
an offer.
Yep. Call us and pull the
ball
trigger.
rolling. Yeah, call Blake.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, it's cool to catch up.
Yeah.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Do you want to talk about the
was there
little
anything
flip I've got that we're doing that I just cleaned out?
Sure. What you got?
10 minutes, 3 minutes. So we just bought a little condo, that 2-bedroom, 1-bath I mentioned in Vestavia. Bought it on Tuesday. Today's Saturday. Yesterday was our kind of clean out day. So I told you my goal on a flip is, here's the project, call me when you're done, to Ezekiel, or our construction manager. So that's kind of my idea on this one, but I always like to spend the first day, especially if it's not.
Just going and seeing it for yourself.
Just and physically do the clean out. So I'll maybe we can tag some of the videos I took in this, but this was a hoarder house. Like,
was it?
Class A hoarder house. We had a 20-yard dumpster trailer that was full 80% of just actual trash, like
garbage.
I mean, garbage. Just like Chick-fil-A bags, half-eaten pizza.
That's just all in the house?
Everywhere.
Oh my
like on every
gosh.
surface.
You got pictures of this and
Oh
stuff?
yeah.
Oh, we
yeah.
definitely need to show that.
It is
for
disgusting.
Sure.
But I again spent the day. I had two of Ezekiel's guys. They actually spent the day demoing the bathroom because we got to rebuild it and found some wood rot and stuff. And I spent the day just trashing it out. So it was disgusting. But again, I'd like to get my hands dirty, like getting in there every now and then.
I guess that would be interesting, you know, see how people live and stuff.
Oh my
and,
gosh,
just
interesting. So you learn a lot about the guy, right? And potentially more than his own family knew because it seemed like he was a hermit. I don't know. I bought it from a wholesaler just through relationships. So I don't know what happened to the guy, but if I had to guess, he's probably deceased now. I didn't count.
drug paraphernalia or anything like that?
I found a bong, but outside of that, didn't find any drugs, but tons of empty bottles. So like 40, 50, 60 empty bottles of bourbon and whiskey.
A lot of alcoholism.
They're just, yeah, definitely a heavy alcoholic. There's just, beer cans everywhere. It's sad, really, to clean that kind of stuff out. But he was a size 10.5 shoe, which I'm not. But one of my workers was. He got some sweet boots.
Oh, really?
The guy was really into hunting, guns, knives. So I found no guns, actually. I thought I would. Found tons of bullets, shotgun shells, like 20 gun holsters, like little belt clips for, I don't know a ton about guns, but just handguns, like not big stuff. Yeah, I found what all did we find? I've got a video of all the stuff we found. A bowling ball, CPAP machines, 2 sweet knives.
Do you have like a Craigslist account, or you go on Facebook Marketplace with all that stuff?
So yesterday,
Blake's finds.
So there's actually some nice furniture in there, but it all has just kind of like sticky stuff all over it.
Yeah.
And so I actually just put it on Facebook, so free furniture, and I just hauled it out to the curb, and people just showed up all day and just took it. Because it's like, I probably could have made a couple $100 selling it, but it's not.
It's like just go,
just get
it.
Yeah, the goal's clean it out, turn the property as fast as we can, and sell it. So I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, baseball cards. I've got a storage tub full of baseball cards. There's got to be something.
Dude, there's got to be something in there, man.
Yeah.
So who do you reach out to?
So actually, a buddy of mine. So your brother just looked at me and said, "Give them to me." A buddy of mine that's been working out with us has a company called the Card Council. Shout out Kyle, who he does that.
Okay.
Like he evaluates.
You know everybody, man.
So yeah. So I'm gonna. He don't even know it's coming, but I'm gonna give him that whole tub and just say like, "What are these worth?" And he'll go. Thousands and thousands of cards.
Baseball cards. Oh man.
There's some cool like hunting jackets that I kept that I don't hunt, but I'll find them somewhere. There was a 5XL leather trench coat with fur interior. It looks like something a gangster would wear.
Okay.
Like it literally drags the ground. It's massive. So I was gonna do some. Sell it, I guess. It's
never a dull moment, man.
It's like a treasure hunt.
That's
is.
Why
yeah,
I was about to say
you got to deal through. I found some of the more nasty things. No rats or anything. No, there were bugs like dead little gnat things everywhere. Every surface was covered with them, but no like animals, which I was kind of surprised. But I found under like just a pile of trash a 5-gallon bucket that was full of some dark liquid. That was disgusting. I didn't really
throw the bucket away.
Oh my gosh, it was disgusting. And then found some like underwear that was just very used. So you find some nasty stuff. We were gloved.
Hopefully, nothing you ever have to alert the police about in your findings. Or
well,
anything like that.
half it's like is he in here? You
still
got to ask that question.
Somewhere?
Well, like dead under this trash or something.
My gosh.
It's seriously like thought crossed my mind the first time I went in there because
I'm gonna find a body.
Yeah,
Oh my
dude, it's just sad. It's wild. So, but it's one day, 3 of us trashed out, demoed everything, and so now it's the rebuild process, and it is. Ezekiel's running it. It's got about 3 weeks. We're going to turn it. We bought it at 105. Should take. My goal is spend less than 10, but 115. If we're up to 120, it is what it is, and then I think I can sell it for about 165.
Wow.
So it should be
Not
a good,
too bad.
quick little flip. We use some leverage against the other Bluff Park house to purchase this one while that one's going on to help just fund it more. Because we talked about it before, but that one is hopefully we'll break even. Numbers are really tight on it. And so cause it'll be a 6-7 month flip. So while we're doing it, if we can flip this, generate $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 just to help fund that one to make it a little bit better. That's kind of the goal, just kind of a quick little deal. So
that's cool, man.
So that's the biggest update. That's what we're working on. A lot of moving parts, but I'm excited for this year. It's going to be a big year.
Never a dull moment. So follow Blake on social media, TikTok, Instagram, all that, and you can see pictures from all these cool treasure hunts, as you say.
That's it.
But yeah, man, cool catching up.
Good to see you.
All right, man. See you.